everyone. Welcome to the Maria Cozette Show. I'm your host, Maria Cozette, and we have a great show because my guest is all about fashion, an entrepreneur, very multifaceted, and a creative mind. Anooshka Zakarian will be here. And of course, for any further information, visit the website, mariacozette.com/television. Stay with us. Today, my guest is a very lovely fashionista and successful entrepreneur, Anooshka Zakarian.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
Of course, it's my pleasure. And we're going to talk about all the different facets about you. But first, let's talk about you when you were 17 and you became the youngest manager of a store called Rampage. I know many of the ladies out there remember that store. And then you went on to become a buyer. How did that experience shape you as an entrepreneur?
Well, becoming a manager at 17, first of all, I was very ambitious, so every job that I've had, I have made sure that I climbed the ladder very, very fast.
Nice.
So at Rampage, I was taught at a very young age how to be a leader.
Right.
It taught me how to interview. It taught me a lot about clothing and about, the structure of clothing, about how to deal with customers, how to what color looks good on somebody or what shape looks good on somebody.
Right.
So that was a really good way for me to start. And I'm very lucky because a lot of people don't really...
they don't have that opportunity.
No, they don't. So from a very young age, I already knew what I wanted to do, and I set up for it. So
yeah. And then becoming a buyer, I've always told my friends, so the ones that are watching will probably start laughing now, but I've always said that's probably the best job to have.
Honestly, it was one of the most funnest jobs I've ever had.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I was in my early 20s, traveling the world, going to New York, to Coterie Show. I was going to Paris. I was, traveling to all the shows around the world, and it was one of the best experiences of my life.
Yeah, I can imagine. And so you've traveled to all these places. And what did you feel about their sense of fashion? What their perspective is on fashion or the different styles that they have, for example, in Paris compared to here?
The style in Paris is a lot more simple. They wear a lot of more neutral colors. It's definitely less is more over there.
Right.
And in America, it's a little different.
A little different, yeah.
But, I love the fashion in London. It's so edgy and it spoke to me a lot more.
Right.
But I'm at a place right now, I think, in my life that the LA fashion is the best because it's so kick back and
it is
chill and bohemian and
Right. And you travel a lot.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that too, that in other places they dress up more for everyday life, whereas here it is very chill.
Yeah, you can go with jeans and tennis shoes anywhere you want here.
I kind of like that.
Me too.
Yeah, especially for girls, we already have to do too much,
It's great.
Yeah. And so in 2006, you launched your store in Studio City, your first one. So it must have been a very exciting venture. It became super popular with locals, A-list celebrities. What was the whole process in launching this?
So before I opened Rumor, I had actually helped 2 other stores open. So I got a lot of experience out of that.
Right.
So when it came to opening Rumor, it was an easier process.
Yeah.
Because I had done it before.
Right.
But the whole process is basically I came up with a business plan.
Okay.
And then you come up with a design plan for the store.
Right.
And a lot of the brands that I brought into the store, I already worked with because I was a buyer before, so I had connections with. So it was an easy transition from becoming a store owner, from going from a buyer to becoming a store owner.
And I know the fashion industry, a lot of people say it's very cutthroat.
Yeah.
Did you get that sense when you were working in that environment as far as collaborating with different brand owners and designers? Because you're on the manufacturing end.
Now I am, yeah.
Right.
I try not to focus on that, and I try to just focus on what I'm doing.
Right.
Because the more you start paying attention to the competition and other brands that are out there, you just fog, your creativity more. So I just try to focus on what I'm doing and the designers that I work with, and it just works out well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, for example, when you had your stores, it's really interesting to me. How do you seek brands that you want to carry? Are you doing research? Is it ones that you're already familiar with, and then is there additional research involved?
So there's
How does that all come together?
There's a couple of different ways. I would attend a lot of trade shows.
Right.
So that was a way of finding new talent and new brands. And a lot of the brands would come to me.
Gotcha.
So let's say if I was featured in InStyle magazine or People, then
Right.
they would contact me and say, I want to be in your store. And then if
Right.
I liked what they had, then I would,
You're
consider.
like, bring me what you got.
Yeah.
Let me see. Yeah, I love it.
I would
love
consider,
it.
carrying it.
Yeah, absolutely. So now let's get to the fun stuff and
Okay.
talk about 1212 Collective, which launched in 2017, and you brought some amazing pieces
I
here. So let's
did.
talk about it. Who are the brands you work with? What is the process? Everything.
So 1212 Collective is a manufacturing company that I created
Right.
2 years ago. And I work with a lot of up-and-coming designers from mostly from LA, some from Hawaii, some from other
that's cool.
other states. But basically, what we do is we create their designs. So the
Right.
process starts from them giving us a sketch,
Okay.
and so we take those sketches and we bring it into life.
That's amazing.
So starting from making the pattern, and then going into production, fittings, and then
Everything.
everything.
Wow.
All the
Okay.
way to like labeling, packaging, and shipping to stores. Most of them work with some great stores like Nordstrom's, Barney's, Shopbop, Revolve,
Amazing.
Yeah.
And so, who are the brands that you work with?
I work with several brands. One of them is called Stone Cold Fox. They
Okay.
have some amazing dresses, tops, skirts. They have great style. The girls. Another brand that I work with is Shop with Berlin. She's actually a friend of mine that I've known for many, many years, and she does a lot of basics.
Right.
So this is one of the tops
love
that
basics.
Yeah. It's just simple, super easy, affordable pieces. That
I wish you guys could feel the material because I touched it earlier and it's awesome.
I know, it really is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and she does great. She has a lot of influencers that wear her stuff, and she's just grown, and I'm so proud of her.
That is amazing.
Yeah. Another brand that I work with is Anthropology.
One of my favorites. I love it.
So I do dresses for
this
them.
is so cute.
This was made in India.
So cute.
But so I have to tell you, a lot of the stuff that we actually make it in LA. So all the cut and
Nice.
sew is done in LA. But there are certain things that can't be done in LA. So we
Right.
do overseas, like beading or,
Right, little intricacies
little
maybe.
intricate stuff. Yeah,
Gotcha.
like cotton like this, it's, hard to find here. So,
Right.
we do it in like intricate work, like the detail work that you see.
Yeah.
So we get
So
that
what
done.
are the typical challenges that you come by? Like something that just consistently it's a challenge, or maybe part of the process that is a little more tedious than other parts?
Well, there's a lot of production challenges that we face.
Gotcha.
That's why it's so important to be detail oriented.
Yeah.
That's where we come in, and we make sure that every single detail is,
Right.
met. We oversee all the sewing, we oversee all the cutting, because if one process goes wrong, the entire garment is done. And usually we cut like thousands of pieces, and then it's,
Wow.
then we have to figure out what to do with that.
Oh my
So,
goodness,
yeah.
I know, I can imagine.
Yeah.
What about this denim piece?
This denim piece is made for Anthropology also. It's a beautiful bohemian dress that will launch in May, actually.
Oh really?
Yeah.
This is so cute.
Yeah. This is
I love it. Yeah, super cool pieces.
Yeah.
And then there's this one too.
This is a beautiful cardigan that was made for the holiday collection.
Awesome.
Yeah, there you go.
And this is Anthropology as well?
Yes,
I just love their whole look and feel for everything there.
I do too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love that they work with a lot of independent brands.
They do. They collaborate with so many different brands.
Yeah.
A lot of the designers that I actually manufacture for work with them as well. So,
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. And so how is the collaborative process with the designers?
Usually, the first process is meeting with them and seeing exactly what their, brand is about
Right.
and what they want to, accomplish, and, the amount of production that we need to do for them, the timeline.
Right.
Those are some important things. The development process. sampling. So it's a lot of collaborating.
Yeah, it is. And then, like, for example, when they give you a sketch, do they explain to you what kind of material they're looking for? Is that something you present to them, the different options?
So some designers that we work with provide the fabric themselves.
Okay.
But there's a lot of options at our warehouse that we give options as well. So
I see.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So it just depends. Like, we basically cater to what our customers need.
Right.
Yeah.
I love that you're doing something that you initially wanted to do when you were young. And, you know, it's very rare that people get to do that. So you're pursuing your dreams, you know? Yeah, it's a beautiful
definitely
thing.
been a easy transition from one step to another.
Right.
So
yeah, and you have developed your different facets in the same industry. You know a lot about, you know, being a buyer, about all the different parts of it.
Well, I think what makes this special is that I had to go through all that, you know, to get to where I am today.
Yeah, you're a well-rounded professional. Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely there's been challenges, but, you know,
There
challenges
always are.
make you grow, and, you know, that's where we are today.
Absolutely, yeah. Especially in entrepreneurship, it's a lot of risk taking.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I've had my fair share of, failures, and, you know, I've come out of it and
Absolutely, yeah.
started all over again.
That's life.
Yeah.
And with all that said, and in all the, you know, your journey and your professional ventures, your heart is always in the right place because you've been involved a lot in philanthropy. So I want to definitely touch on that and talk about the different projects and how you've integrated fashion into that, you know, and you're a do-gooder. So let's talk about that.
Well, so I know, you know about Love Project.
Yes.
We did Love Project for 6 years, my business partner Anya and I, and that was definitely a passion, you know, project that we did, and it came to both of our lives at a time where we needed it the most, and we traveled to India and we partnered with a women's facility out there, and it was a vocational center that they made all our stuff. It was a lot of silks actually that they would naturally dye.
Wow.
And we would make kaftans, beautiful scarves, beautiful skirts and tops, and, you know, that was a nice period, you know.
Yeah. And how was it communicating with this brand new culture that you hadn't, you know?
Yeah.
You were just discovering and then working with them in that regard,
you know? It was absolutely great because India is very inspiring, you know. When you travel to India, there's just so many colors, and
oh my goodness, I love their culture.
So for
their
a designer
colors,
or somebody that's very creative, it's like, you know, heaven. You're like, ah,
right.
You know.
Yeah, I'm sure you were well received.
So it's definitely very inspiring, and, you know, we would go there once a year and we would spend time in these facilities and you know, work with these women, and they were just great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then I know that you also produced fashion shows for the Natanya Sarkeesian Foundation, and I love Hilda, so I know her very well. Yeah, she's an incredible woman, incredible woman. And so I want to talk to you about that because you did it for many years. What, you know, what does that process entail? Producing a fashion show is not a joke. Beautifully put together, by the way. The presentation of it was fabulous. It was typically on the rooftop of the Mercedes dealership in Calabasas.
Well, we started inside, and then it
gotcha, and then it went to
it grew so much that we had to take it up.
And so I've been backstage when all of that madness is happening, and it's so funny because the audience doesn't see that. So what is happening behind the curtains? I mean, what does that whole thing entail?
So Natanya was actually a client of mine.
Really?
Well, she wanted to be a fashion designer, and her mother would bring her in, and she would spend some time in my store looking at all the brands, and you know, she was amazing. And when Hilda asked me to be a part of this, I was like, I'm in, you know, from day one. So putting together a fashion show is very, very, very time consuming and hard.
I can imagine.
But it was all worth it, you know. I would start with picking out the clothes that would go on these models, and then we would pick the models, and, you know, we would do rehearsals, we would do fittings, and then, you know, the day would come, and it was always so exciting, and, you know, it was a great 5-6 years of my life, you know, working on this project.
Yeah, and lucky you that you got to take something that you love and pair it with something else that you love, you know?
Absolutely, and I love the entire family, so it was an easy
Fantastic.
thing to do.
And then are there any upcoming projects that you're looking to embark on, whether philanthropy or none?
God, there's so many causes that I'm so passionate about. It's so hard.
I know you love animals.
I do. And, you know, we talked about this in Armenian.
Yes.
And I recently found a foundation that's called Dingo. I don't know if you heard of it, but they rescue dogs in Armenia.
In Armenia,
and they place them in loving homes. So that's
fantastic.
One cause that I'm extremely passionate about.
And very much needed there.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then I also donate a lot of my clothes and extra inventory that I have to a place called Alexandria House.
Okay.
And it's a
I have heard of that, all women's.
It's a beautiful facility. It's a transition home for women and children.
Right.
And the last couple of years I've been donating close to them. And then, God, there's so many.
I know. I love that you have such a...
Odon is a great foundation,
yes,
you know.
They are. They are.
Yeah.
And I love that you're so much about charity.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a beautiful thing because not very many professionals are. So I thank you on behalf of all those causes. Yeah.
I mean, I feel like you have to give back, right? Like
some
that's part
people
of...
don't. And that's why it's so beautiful to see that in you. Yeah. And so my last question that I ask all my guests is, why do you think it's important to have a creative outlet, an artistic interest, and to pair that with your business acumen?
Well, for me, being creative is a way of life, honestly.
Right.
Like, it just makes me happy. It energizes me. It puts me into that, like, meditative state, you know what I mean? Where when I'm creative, I'm not thinking about anything else except for what I'm doing right then and there.
Yeah.
So I think everybody should have a creative outlet.
I know.
You know, it's just...
I don't know how some people don't.
Yeah, it just energizes you. It makes you, you know, happier.
Yeah, and it puts you in it's a great escape and puts you in a different world,
absolutely.
You know?
It just brings out the more positive, you know, side of you, I think.
Always needed.
Yeah, always need it.
Thank you so much for coming by.
Of course, thank you so much for having me, and I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you. Thank you, thank you. I love it. It was all good energy on the set today, so please stay with us a lot more with the Maria Cozette Show. Know the Greats, where we spotlight a legend. Gianni Versace is known for his daring creations and glamorous lifestyle. As an innovative fashion designer, he actually created a fabric for a piece he had envisioned. His initial interest was ignited by his mother when he worked for a short time during high school at her shop. In the 1980s and 90s, Versace took flight and solidified his flair for fashion. He produced seasonal fashion shows with the support and attendance of A-list celebrities. Everyone anticipated his presentations. In 1989, he established haute couture and flourished in the design world all the more. His company had expanded by then to produce clothing for men, women, and children, as well as handbags, precious jewelry, perfume, and items for the home. Versace's work was honored by a posthumous retrospective held from December 1997 to March 1998 at the Costume Institute of the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York City. After his untimely death, his sister took over as head designer for the label. Fur has always been deemed a fashionable trend worn by society's elite. With the growing popularity of animal rights, fur is now considered faux pas, and many states in the US are banning sales. Animal abuse for the sake of beauty is an outstanding issue that is constantly being protested against, cosmetics included. PETA stands for People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, and it is the largest animal rights organization in the world, with more than 6.5 million members and supporters. PETA focuses its attention on the 4 areas in which the largest number of animals suffer from most intensely for the longest periods of time in laboratories, food industry, clothing trade, and in the entertainment industry. They also work on a variety of other issues, including the cruel killing of rodents, birds, and other animals who are often considered pests, as well as cruelty to domesticated animals. PETA works through public education, cruelty investigations, research, animal rescue, legislation, special events, celebrity involvement and endorsement, and protest campaigns. For more info or to get involved, visit PETA.org. That's a wrap for the Maria Cozette Show. Much love to my guest today, Anooshka. It was such a delightful conversation all about fashion and all the great things about it. For any further information about the show, visit the website, mariacozette.com/television. And of course, like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram. And remember, when it comes to fashion, it's not what you wear, it's how you wear it. Stay creative.